wonderful people. It is Saturday, May the 4th, Star Wars Day. Happy Star Wars Day to all of y'all that celebrate, which should be most of y'all if y'all are on this channel. Most of y'all should be celebrating because we all nerds here and geeks and dweebs. And you know, we just good people. We fanboys though, most of us, I think. It has been, well, it's actually kind of nice right now, but it's been rainy all day. And I watched the new Star Wars Tales of the Empire this morning, and it was pretty great. Not here to talk about that, but it was great. I watched WWE Backlash from France this afternoon. Also great. I'm not really here to talk about that either, but I can. If y'all decide y'all want me to talk about it, let me know and I'll come back. I have been doing a lot of toy hunts recently. I love them. You guys seem to enjoy watching them. But this week, because it was so cruddy weather and because I had a bunch of other stuff going, I did not get a chance to do a toy hunt. But I did go back to the well to do another movie review for you guys. Monster over at the Nerdy Man Room show has just absolutely shamed me to the point where I got to do this. I got to get back on this. I started a project and I've got to follow through and finish it. And so far I hadn't. And let me tell you how bad it is. The last time I did a Canon review was in November of last year, 6 months ago. That's terrible. I'm good at procrastinating. That is great procrastination. But anyway, if you're fairly new to the channel or very new to the channel and you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, I occasionally will review movies, but I almost never review new movies, okay? Everybody does that. What I've been doing is trying to go back to stuff that I watched when I was a kid, or at least from the time period from when I was a kid, or sometimes even earlier than that. And I try to find these hidden gems, stuff that I love, stuff that when I was at the video store on Friday night, this is what I was looking for. And I'm just trying to introduce today's group to it. I got nieces and nephews that are teenagers now, and I want them to know about these awesomely terrible movies. Sometimes there's some of them that I do not want my nieces and nephews to ever watch, but a lot of them I want them to. And so that's what this is for. I was at Walmart, it's been a couple years ago now, and I picked this up. The Bombs, Babes, and Blockbusters of Canon Films. It's a 10-pack DVD collection. And I decided that I would go through and watch all these and make a video for each one. I picked this up because Canon Films is just one of the best film studios for B-level action movies from the late 80s and early 90s. Masters of the Universe was a Canon film. I did a video on that. Cobra with Sylvester Stallone, Missing in Action, The Delta Force, Bloodsport. All of these are in this box set. There's a bunch that are not. Movies like Cyborg with Jean-Claude Van Damme is a great movie. It's not in this set, so I may get to it, but not before I get done with this, okay? And like I said, it's been 6 months since I've done a Canon review, and it's way past time for me to get on one. Today I'm going to talk about one that I actually had kind of planned to put off to the end, but again, Monster shamed me and told me he wanted a campy movie. It don't get much campier than Hellbound. It was released in late 93, early 94, depending on where you look. The box office shows late January of 94. But a lot of the copyrights and stuff show 93, so you know, we'll say 94 because that's the box office release. I have absolutely no idea how much money it cost because I couldn't find it in my 37 seconds of research. I did a little more than that, but and I have no idea how much it made at the box office. Judging by the quality of this movie, I'm gonna say nothing because it's just bad. It's okay, it's got some redeeming qualities because you know what? It stars Chuck Norris. And Chuck Norris is the greatest action hero this world or any other world has ever seen. In this movie, he plays Sergeant Detective Frank Shatter. Shatter is his last name in this movie, Shatter. And I'll be honest, I couldn't really make it past that. Because I was thinking, sometimes I need to go to the Shatter. You made this movie up. Somebody made this movie up. You could have picked any last name in the world, and that's what you picked. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, Chuck Norris, you know him. He's Walker, Texas Ranger. He's Lone Wolf McQuade. He is operative of the Delta Force. He was missing in action. He is the Chuck Norris memes, the Chuck Norris jokes, the Chuck Norris facts. He's Chuck Norris. He is a certified 100% grade A American-born, American-bred badass. And he's got a great beard and a pretty wicked roundhouse. Detective Calvin Jackson was played by Calvin Levels. Calvin Levels, he was in Adventures in Babysitting. He was in A Point of No Return. He's done a ton of like episodes of TV shows here and there. He's got a really long list. I couldn't figure out. He looked familiar to me from something, but I can't figure out what from. So maybe it was Adventures in Babysitting, because I know I've seen that a few dozen times, but I could be wrong about that. I'm not sure. Lockley or Prositanos, I ain't gonna say it right. I don't know. Bad dude. Anyway, he was played by Christopher Neame, who's apparently like an English actor. He was in 007's License to Kill. He was in The Prestige. He's done tons of TV, tons of voices for TV and video games. And again, Star Wars Day is today, and I always like to tie these movies back to Star Wars. He was a voice in Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. So I'm going to tie it back to Star Wars somehow. But anyway, he was Lockley. He was the bad guy. Leslie was played by Sherry J. Wilson. She was in 100 and something episodes of Dallas, a lot of TV shows, a lot of movies. She was also Alice Cahill in the Walker, Texas Ranger TV show. So apparently Chuck liked hanging out with her. This movie was directed by Aaron Norris, which is Chuck Norris's brother. So I'm sure there was no sibling rivalry on that set, but I don't know. Okay, so that's background, a little bit of story. That's the actors. There was a bunch of other people in there, but it's people that, unless you live in Israel or follow Israeli movies and TV shows, you probably ain't gonna know them. If you're curious, you can look it up on IMDb, just like I did. Anyway, so on to the story. Okay, so in the Middle Ages, 1100s or something like that, during the Crusades, Richard the Lionheart leads some crusaders to this monastery, or this ruins, whatever, where evil dude Prositanos, I'm not going to get that name right, I'm just going to call him P, bad guy or something like that. Anyway, he is about to sacrifice this little baby to Satan. Richard the Lionheart and a monk and some other dudes, they fight off the bad guys and they save the baby, and they trap the bad dude in a tomb. The bad dude has this magic scepter that has all his power, and Richard the Lionheart breaks it into 9 pieces, and that's, the opening scene. It's a pretty good scene. Fast forward to 1951. A couple of dumbass grave robbers break into this tomb, which had been sealed for, 800 years. These idiots break in, they open the tomb and quickly die. And this releases the bad guy. And then we do another time jump to present day Chicago. All right. So Chuck Norris and Calvin are 2 detectives on the Chicago police force. They spend most of their days beating the hell out of pimps and low-level drug dealers, because that's what you do in Chicago in the 90s. And, it's a good thing. They finish up with a bust. They get into their super nice Trans Am, and a prostitute falls out of a hotel window and lands on their hood. I can't tell you how often that happens in Chicago in the 90s. Guessing it's at least once in this movie. So anyway, come to find out that in this hotel room, the bad dude had met up with this rabbi for a piece of the scepter, He was trying to put it back together, and he kills the rabbi. The hooker sees him, so he throws the hooker out the window. So Norris, being the cop, they call for radio for ambulance for the hooker, who's somehow alive still. I don't know. And he goes to fight the bad guy. He roundhouse kicks him, he front kicks him, he karate chops him, and yet the bad guy still gets away, and he shoots him in the chest. It's a bad dude, right? Because you just don't do that with Chuck Norris, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so bad guy gets away. The rest of the cops show up. The backup shows up. Really wonderful dialogue from the film. The rabbi got killed because the bad dude reached into his chest and ripped out his heart. And so while they're sitting there, Calvin looks over and he's like, "Oh man, his heart's missing." And Chuck Norris is like, "No, it didn't. It's over there." That was quality dialogue. Absolutely great. But it was probably also the best line of dialogue in the movie, so whatever. Anyway, so after that, they go back to their squad room and find out that the Israeli police want to ask them some questions about this whole situation. Well, apparently, instead of picking up the phone and calling, or, I don't know, faxing, it's the 90s, these two Chicago cops have to fly to Israel to talk to the cops. I mean, it makes sense for the movie, but it seems like it will blow massive amounts of departmental budgets, but whatever. I don't know. It's the 90s, right? So anyway, they get there, and the Israeli cop grills them for several hours. You know, it starts at daytime and ends at nighttime. It's funny. He tells them, you know, of course, that you're just tourists in my country. You have no authority, which, of course, to an American's ear means go do what you're going to do anyway, because we run the world. Duh. So they leave out of there, and poor Calvin is, number one, hot, and number two, hungry. He stays hot and hungry for this entire movie. I don't think Chuck Norris ever lets this poor guy eat, and he never turned the air conditioner on, because apparently no cars in Israel have air conditioning or something. I don't know. Anyway, so they start doing their investigations. They run into Miss Sherry J. Wilson, who is an assistant to this professor of Israeli history and mythology, who is actually the bad guy in disguise. And so they come to find out that this whole thing is to put together the Armageddon or the apocalypse. What he's got to do is he's got to reassemble this scepter, which Richard Lionheart had broken into 9 pieces. All 9 pieces were entrusted to different parts of the church, different holy people. And so come to find out through Interpol and stuff that there's been a string of murders of holy men, 9 of them to be exact. And so now the bad guy has reassembled the scepter, and the last thing he needs is royal blood so that he can go ahead and call down the apocalypse and bring the devil back to earth or something. I don't know. Anyway, this is an hour-and-a-half movie, and I'm trying to condense it to 11, 12 minutes. But there was a lot of running around Israel, a lot of talking to priests and rabbis and holy men, and that was the gist of it, was that this really is a bad guy that really does have a direct line to the devil. He really does need to get that scepter put back together. And in a shocking twist of fate, the royal blood he needs is the hot chick. Nobody saw that coming. I promise you, in 1994, nobody saw that coming. Anyway, so they find out where he is kidnapped and taken her to, which is the tomb that the whole movie started in. And so Chuck Norris and Calvin show up at the tomb. They karate chop and pistol whip the bad guys' thugs. And then Chuck Norris begins to karate kick and karate chop the bad guy. And all the while, they'll fight him for a second, and then, like any good boss, he'll disappear for a little bit so they can start untying the hot chick, and then he'll come back for the next round of boss fight, and they'll fight him for a little bit, and he'll disappear, and they go untie the chick a little bit more. Anyway, she finally wakes up enough to tell him that the only way to kill this dude is with the scepter. And so Chuck Norris picks the scepter up, and much like Tom Brady would if he wasn't a cheating piece of crap, he throws the scepter right dead on, and it goes through the chest of the bad guy. And for like 3 seconds, he looks like an actual horned demon, and then he explodes, which seems like a waste of CG of effects budgets. But I mean, it was a pretty cool looking demon. But like I said, you see it for like 3 seconds. Anyway, he explodes, and the two cops and the hot girl, they all leave the tomb, and they leave the broken scepter laying there. I don't know why. Indiana Jones would have packed that stuff up and taken it back to America and put it in a vault somewhere. Not these dudes. But right at the very end, you see this dude in white pick up the pieces, and you get like a voiceover that he is a holy man, and turn around and it's Ezra from the Rebels crew. That's another Star Wars thing. I don't know what the dude's name was. He looks like the dude that plays Ezra Bridger in Ahsoka. Anyway, that's the end of the movie. Good triumphs over evil. Chuck Norris in a supernatural movie was kind of weird, but again, it was the early 90s. This was the last of Cannon's films before they filed for bankruptcy, and I kind of understand why, because it was bad. Like, really bad. Like, even Chuck Norris's karate kicks couldn't really save it. But anyway, like I said, I watched it on my DVD box set that I have. If you would like to watch it, I'm sure you can find this DVD box set at walmart.com, possibly still in store. I doubt it, because it was 2 years ago when I bought it. But this particular movie, Hellbound, is available to rent on like the Google Play, Amazon Prime, whatever floats your boat for online retailers. I did see that it is available for rent from several different ones, so easy to watch if you so choose. That's going to be it for me for this week. Next week, I don't know. I'll be back with either another movie review or possibly a toy hunt or something. I don't know. We'll find out, right? If you enjoyed what I'm doing, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel. If you didn't like what I'm doing, come back again next week, because maybe it'll be something else and you will like that. I appreciate you tuning in, and they say, like, comment, subscribe, share. Before I get out of here, I will tell you, if you get a chance, please go check out my buddies Hassel and Monster over at the Nerdy Man Room show and Hassel's Reviews. They just interviewed Mr. Howard Mackey. He is a very, very, very legendary comic book writer. He created the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider. It's a great interview. Lasts a couple hours, actually, so make sure you block out some time for that. And that's it from me. Until next time, may the force be with you.